Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing the TMI Book Tag, which I was tagged in by Aoife at Pretty Purple Polka Dots. She is brand new to BookTube, so I will put her link down in the description box down there and you should go check her out. She's pretty great. The tag TMI I think stands for too much information. I tried to think of some other things that it maybe stood for. The only one I could think of was maybe tiny marsupial invasion, but it's probably not that one. So basically it is a list of 50 questions all about books and you have to answer them. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to make a start at the top and work my way through them. So let's do this thing. Question 1 is fictional character with the best style, and I am going to go for Jarlaxle from R.A. Salvatore's The Dark Elf trilogy. He is a pirate dandy dark elf who lives underground and wears a big hat with a great big feather in it and an eye patch that he swaps eyes occasionally on just to keep people guessing, just to confuse people, and he's super cool, has epic style. Question 2 is, who is your fictional crush? It's going to have to be Kaz from Remix by Non Pratt, because we have very similar outlooks on music, very similar kind of tastes and views, and just we're on a wavelength. I think we get on. Although, shout out to my girl Luna Lovegood, because she's amazing. A soft spot for Luna. Do like a bit of Luna. Question 3 is a character that you loved that you ended up hating. And there aren't many of those. I mean, even really good villains I tend to kind of get where they're going at, and I tend to see character arcs coming. But I think Mrs. Coulter from Philip Pullman's His Dark Materials, I started out thinking of being a good character who ended up kind of showing how horrific and ruthless and cold she could be, but she does have a great redemptive arc throughout that series. So I don't know, Mrs. Coulter definitely was not everything that I thought she was to begin with, but she is brilliant, to be fair. So yeah, that's not an answer. Question 4 is, what is the longest book on your shelf? And the longest book on my shelf is probably the Necronomicon by H.P. Lovecraft, which is a collection of every single short story he ever wrote. It's absolutely brilliant, one of my favourite horror writers of all time, and the book itself is absolutely gorgeous. It's got like 30 years worth of writing in it, so that's probably the longest book on my bookshelf. And then question 5 is very similar. It is, what is the heaviest book on your bookshelf? And the heaviest book on my bookshelf is The Art of Marvel Studios, which is the concept art for all of phase 1 of the original set of Marvel films, and it's full of some really cool artwork and things like that, and I'm a sucker for concept art, so that is by far the heaviest thing that I own, I think. Question 6. Do you have any book posters? Yes, I have a Marauders map and I have a Welcome to Night Vale poster, which isn't technically book related, but they have a book now, so I'm going to count it as book related, plus Welcome to Night Vale is amazing. Okay, next question on the list. Do you own any book related jewellery? And of course I do. I own a time turner. Everyone needs a time turner, they come in very handy, especially when it's 6 AM and your alarm's going off and you just want to go back to sleep. Next question on the list is, who is your OTP, or one true pairing? And it has to be Lyra and Will from Philip Pullman's His Dark Materials. I wish that those books could end differently. I wish that it wasn't the bench in Oxford, that was what they had. I get emotional just thinking about it now, but I love them so much. They're my squishy forevers. The next question is, what is your favourite book series? And obviously Harry Potter is going to have to shoot right up to the top. But I also have a very soft spot for Lockwood and Co. by Jonathan Stroud, which is a middle grade series about a group of children who are also paranormal investigators. It's very Victorian and very gothic, has a real feel of Sherlock Holmes meets The Woman in Black to it. Really, really good series. They're on to book 3, with book 4 being due out pretty soon, I think. But that series is brilliant. Question 10 is best book to movie soundtrack. I'm not really one for scores, so I don't really tend to pay attention too much, but I do quite like a soundtrack, so I'm going to go with Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, because it has the song It's Getting Boring by the Sea by one of my all-time favourite bands on it, who are called Blood Red Shoes, who I would definitely recommend giving a quick search on YouTube, because they are amazing. They're a two-piece from Brighton, so definitely that one. It has a really kick-ass soundtrack. Number 11 is a story or series that you wish would continue. And for me, it's not Harry Potter. I'm going to have to go with the Gone series by Michael Grant. One of my absolute favourite series for teen fiction. It's fast-paced. It's about a group of children who are left in a town when everyone over the age of 14 disappears, and they start to develop these weird mutated powers, and I would love to see more of that world. I would love to see more of the darkness and the mythology that is worked into it. It's an absolutely brilliant series and I adore it. Favourite standalone? I have a lot of favourite standalones. I mean, The Accident Season by Moira Fowley Doyle, which is magical realism, and I adore it. The Lie Tree by Frances Hardinge, which is also magical realism. The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton, which is also magical realism. I really like standalone magical realism books. They make me happy. When did you start reading is the next question, and the answer to that is as long as I can remember. Yeah, always. I would read anything. The back of cereal boxes, backs of shampoo, anything. I would pick up and read anything as a kid. When I was little, I think it was Kellogg's were giving away free Roald Dahl books with boxes of cereal, and that was a big kickstart for me. I've still got quite a lot of those early Roald Dahl books that I got, things like The Twits and Fantastic Mr. Fox, and SEO Trot, which is the underrated gem of Roald Dahl backlist. It's a great book. Okay, question 4 is, what Hogwarts house are you in? Ravenclawsome. Question 15. What do you look for in a book? It's just something that captures me, to be honest. I like a diverse cast of characters. I like a promise of things being slightly off-centre, or what is normal and what is real and what you would expect. So contemporaries have to be a little bit different for me to get into them. Fantasy has to be something a bit different from the usual swords and sorcery. Science fiction has to do something unusual, so I don't tend to read books that I perceive as being like everything else. So a book has to just have that little unique hook to grab me, to be honest. Question 16 is, what is your favourite book quote? And I think my favourite is a description of the sea from Frances Hardinge's The Lie Tree. This sea licked the flesh off shipwrecks, leaving the bare wooden bones in the lightless deep. So that's probably my favourite book quote. Favourite author? I know it's going to be too hard to pick just one, so here are a few. Patrick Ness, Non Pratt, Melinda Salisbury, Philip Pullman, Alice Oseman, Frances Hardinge. Favourite book cover? And my favourite book covers actually go to two books in the same series, which I'm going to see if I've got on the shelf actually. I can't reach! Which is The Sleeping Prince and The Sin Eater's Daughter by Melinda Salisbury, which have absolutely gorgeous book covers. The covers were designed by a designer called Jamie Gregory, and they're absolutely stunning, and the books inside are really good too, so that's always a plus. Question 19 is action or romance, to which my answer is neither. Straight up action I find kind of boring and repetitive. Straight up romance does nothing for me. I find it a bit flowery and I can't get into it. I prefer like coming of age stories or magical realism, obviously. Quite a fan of science fiction. Or just stories that have action or have romance in them. That's absolutely fine, but I can't have that be the one thing that the book is about, or it just doesn't do anything for me. Question 20 is, where do you go when sad things happen in books? I go to Twitter. I go and find the other people who have been broken by those same books, or I shout at the authors. How long does it take you to finish a book? Probably takes me a week to 2 weeks, depending on how good the book is. I'm a slow reader, and I have a very short attention span, and I work full time, so I don't get a huge amount of reading time, so I try and cram it in where I can, but sometimes, it's just too much for me to focus on, and I would rather be not focusing on anything. How long is your mourning period? If I finish a particularly great book, it can take me 2 or 3 days to get over it and start reading something else. But I'm quite disciplined in that I will normally pick something up the next morning, ready to read. I can be a little bit bad with it, but also I know I'm like, if I don't pick something up, it can go weeks without me reading something, so I force myself into picking up the next thing. Even if I'm not necessarily in the mood to start reading it, I'll give it a shot. Number 23 is, what is your least favourite book? My least favourite book is Great Expectations by Charles Dickens, because that book is boring. Question 24 is kind of weird. I don't like the next couple of questions, but I'm going to answer them anyway. What is a turn-on in a fictional character? And I'm going to use that to mean a character that I engage with. And honestly, it's a unique personality. It's somebody who stands out, somebody who I might not necessarily come across in real life, but someone I could relate to. So that's definitely something that engages me with a character. And the question that immediately follows it is, what is a turn-off in a character? And that is underwritten characters, two-dimensional characters who I felt like if I asked the author something about them, they wouldn't know because they don't care. You've got to care about your characters, to be honest, they're important. Question 26 is, why did I start blogging? And the honest answer was that I had just started working as a bookseller. I wanted a way to keep track of what I was reading and what I thought about it, and I like writing, and I was like, I enjoy writing my thoughts down, it's fun, it's therapeutic, and it just kind of built from there. I didn't know there was a community to get into until I've been doing it for a little while. So yeah, that was basically what prompted me to do the whole thing. Question 27 is, name a scary book. Long Lankin by Lindsay Barraclough, which is a kind of post-Second World War British ghost story with lots of hallmarks of M.R. James to it. Absolutely frightened the pants off me. It's a great, great book. Question 28, book that last made you cry. It's The Girl of Ink and Stars by Kieran Millwood Hargrave, which is a middle grade book that I talked about in a wrap-up last month. Which is absolutely beautiful. You can read it in one sitting, and yeah, it made me cry. Lots of books make me cry though. Question 29, the last book you gave 5 stars to. The Ghosts of Heaven by Marcus Sedgwick, which, as I said in my wrap-up for last month, might be one of the best books I have ever read. It's absolutely phenomenal. Go check out one of my videos. I might link it down there if I remember, but if not, it's, my June wrap-up. No, wait, we're in June. I forget. Question 30, what are your favourite book titles? And I have 2. One is The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. I love that title. It immediately drew me to the book without even knowing what it was about. I just bought it outright. And the other one is a David Wong book called This Book is Full of Spiders, Seriously Dude, Don't Open It. Amazing book name. Absolutely brilliant. I haven't read it, I just love that title. Question 31 is, what is the last book that you read? The last book that I read was The Sparrow by Mary Doria Russell, which I am hopefully going to be talking about during my June wrap-up, which should be going up any day now, when I get around to it. Question 32 is, what book are you currently reading? And the book I am currently reading is a fantasy novel called Uprooted by Naomi Novik. It's full of magic and very gothic creatures, and I'm really enjoying it. It's very, very good so far. Question 33 is, what was the last book adaptation that you watched? And the last one that I watched was V for Vendetta, because it seemed eerily apt given the current political climate in the United Kingdom, and also the Game of Thrones finale as well, but that's so off book at this point that I'm not sure if it counts. Question 34 is a book character that you would love to talk to, and I'm going to have to go with Kaz from Remix again, just because I think we have a lot in common when it comes to music and our general outlook on the world. I think we get on really well. And the question that follows it, which is question 35, is an author that you would love to talk to. I think Oscar Wilde would be good for a laugh. I think he'd be good fun, so Oscar Wilde. Okay, question 36 is favourite book snack. I don't really snack particularly, so I don't really have one. Question 37, book world that you would want to live in. Hogwarts. Always Hogwarts. Always. And of course, question 38 is book world that you would never want to live in. I never want to live in Game of Thrones. Are you kidding me? Question 40, what are your favourite weird insults from books? In Remix, somebody is called a cockwomble. Quite like that. And any Shakespearean insult is always quite good. Question 41, favourite couple in a romance novel. And like I said earlier, I don't really do strictly romance novels, but I've got a lot of love for Tori and Michael in Alice Oseman's Solitaire, or the two main characters from The Next Together by Lauren James. I can't remember what they are called, but they are really cute and they're really sweet as well. Question 42, do you write? I do write. I write fiction. I write YA fiction that's weird and got horror in it, and I have no idea if it is in any way good or if anyone will ever want to read it, but I like doing it, and that's what I care about. Question 43, favourite magical item, and loads of people I've watched who have done this have said, well, it has to be a wand from Harry Potter. No, it's an alethiometer from Philip Pullman's Northern Lights / his Dark Materials trilogy, because it is a truth teller and it is brilliant, and I would love one. 44, favourite Quidditch position. Standing in the stands watching them, although the stands are quite high up, so maybe standing on the ground watching them. Maybe in the library, to be honest, practising spells. I don't really go in for sports, even magical sports on broomsticks. Question 45, favourite song that you associate with a book, and I am going to be really basic, and I'm going to have to say Heroes by David Bowie, which I associate with The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. One of my favourite songs of all time, one of my favourite books of all time. Question 46 is favourite book-related chat-up line. No. And question 47, have you ever used your favourite book chat-up line? No. Question 48 is favourite fandom. Has to be the Harry Potter fandom. It's the first fandom I really ever got into, to be honest, and it's a brilliant one, and I love the world and I love the people who love the world. Question 49 is, how many books do you own? I don't know. I don't know. Let's count them and find out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 263, 264, 265, 267, 268, 490, 491, 492, 493, 602, 603, 604, 605, 606. I currently own 667 books. And question 50 is, who do you tag? So I tag Fiona over at Northeast Nerd, definitely. Hannah at Hannah Love Books. Simon at Savage Reads. And Charlie at Charlie Emma Hay. In fact, anyone who wants to do this tag, feel free to steal it off me. I am not particularly possessive of it. Thank you very much for watching. If you did, if you enjoyed all of this rambling, you can put a like on my video, that would be swell. And if you like to see more, you can always subscribe to the channel, and that will make me smile out of my face. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.